The following episode of Dave's Video Graveyard contains spoilers and naughty words. Listener discretion is advised.
Have you ever bought or rented a videotape that wasn't quite right? It may have been a pirate copy.
Ratings advice. Use it. It's on every...
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in a little coat.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up! One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
A very good evening to you. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM. I am Dave. It is a huge pleasure to be with you, whatever you may be doing. Now, before we start this evening, do not forget, we always love to hear from you. So let us know you're out there. Head on over to social media, look up Dave's Video Graveyard at WOWFM, and let us know you're out there. Thanks to Pete taking us through this evening. A great show, as always. Now, this evening, it is time once again. It's been a while since we've had a guest choice special, but it's time once again for a guest choice special. And this evening, we are joined by a very special guest. We are joined by burlesque superstar. We are joined by Winchester Angel. How are you?
I am great, thank you. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Of course, I would not miss this.
Now, let us know, how much of a movie nerd are you?
I think 99% of my tattoos are just to do with movies, TV shows, music. Like, I'm 100% like the biggest.
How often do people call out the tattoos and they get the references? Is it quite often?
Honestly, yeah, a few. Some get really wrong, but then they get it once I tell them. But yeah, a lot of people actually like them.
Well, that's like, I've got a few movie themed tattoos, and quite often people in public will be like, oh, that's from that. I love that.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where like, I'll hear, there's a certain tone of voice where someone will be like, do you have Ace Ventura coming out of a rhino on your arm? I'm like, yes, I do. Why? Because it's the greatest moment in cinema history.
Why?
That's why. So, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We will be celebrating all the movies that you love.
Yes.
We'll be finding out all about who you are as a person, the kind of movies that you love. Before we get to that, let us know, who are you?
I am...
Putting you on the spot.
A meerkat. No. That's a good question. Who am I? I don't know.
Don't have an existential crisis.
No, it's a good question. It's like crying. I'm just a regular girl that lives down at Osborne, and I love dancing. I never thought I'd be do dancing when I was older, but I love it so much. I've made so many new friends, and it's such a big community that I'm so grateful to be a part of. And I'm a barista by day.
Oh, la-di-da.
Yeah, very, very fancy. No, I love it though. I love being a barista.
In person, it got quite creepy. You were just following her.
No. I was like, because I didn't know she had a school, and I was like, this is so cool. And I messaged her and I was like, how'd you get into it? She's like, I have a school. I was like, oh, that's insane. So I went by myself. I never usually do things by myself. I usually need a friend to come with me to like a class or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any friends at that point, so I was like, stuff it, I'm just gonna go by myself. And even just the first class, like the whole class, everyone was just like my best friend the next day. It was awesome. The best thing. I was like,
it is a really supportive community. It's quite funny because from the outside you go like, oh, this must be such an ego-driven industry. But then you meet so many people, and all they want to do is help everyone else
Exactly.
before themselves.
There's so many big personalities, and it is a little bit terrifying when you're like freshly new, and they're just like everyone knows each other, and like just like so unique, and like, but then they're just so amazingly nice, and it's the best feeling.
It is. Well, we're going to start things off with a little bit of music this evening. Don't forget, you can join in the conversation. Simply look for Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM, whether it be on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Let us know you're listening. Let us know where we went wrong or where we went right. This is 100.5 WOWFM.
People think they're seeing ghosts. And they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by Dickless here.
They caused an explosion.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
This is Dave's Video Graveyard.
It is Dave's Video Graveyard for your Monday evening. The Winchester Angels Guest Choice Special. We are going through 10 of her favourite all-time films. But before that, we need to find out about you as a person. Now, I have a few questions that have been sent to you, but before we get to that, this is the Shot Out of a Cannon. It's the DVG Would You Rather, where we find out just a little bit about you and the films that you watch. Cool. So the first question, Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Okay. Oh, God. I'm just going to say Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Yeah,
right.
Star Wars.
You don't seem very committed to either of those.
No, I like both of them. I love both of them.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the thing.
You're conflicted, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see the next one. Selma Hayek or Pamela Anderson?
Pamela Anderson.
Nice. Good answer. Good answer. Lord of the Rings or Back to the Future?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Nice. Then we will have a look at the next question as I press scroll for no reason. Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio?
Leo.
Leo?
Yep.
Has that always been the answer, or has it changed over time?
It's changed.
Yeah?
Yeah, it depends on like what movies I've been watching lately.
Nice. Taking a look at the next question, I should pay more attention. Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice?
Edward Scissorhands. I got a tattoo of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How many tattoos do you have?
Oh, God. I tried counting the other day and I gave up because I have some that I can't remember.
I don't know why I asked that question because it is such a someone with no tattoos question.
Honestly, I'll take my jacket off. You'll be like, okay, I get that now.
Nice. Let's see. Shawshank Redemption or Stand By Me?
I like Shawshank. Yeah, I just studied that in school, so it's like I watched it.
Was that a set text for you in school?
Yeah, we had to write Shawshank or and it was like against another prison movie. I can't remember what it's called, but we had to like write the differences or something.
Okay, yeah.
So I've watched that a million times.
We had terrible movies as set text. We had Looking for Alibrandi, which I've recently revisited and found out I enjoyed. Witness with Harrison Ford going and living in the Amish community. And a movie called The Club, which is an AFL movie.
Oh, okay.
So
never
bad.
seen.
I did not enjoy it. The next one is Predator or Terminator?
Probably Predator.
Nice,
yep.
Nice. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone.
Nice. The Witches or Matilda?
The Witches.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's one of my questions, actually. It's like what my favourite book is.
Yeah?
As a kid, yeah. Roald Dahl one. I love it.
Batman or Spider-Man?
Batman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I think I know the answer to this next one just because of a conversation we've already had this evening. Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler. Actually, I don't know. I love Will Ferrell, but I think I've grown up with Adam Sandler more, so...
Week after week, I meet film fan after film fan. So many film bros, so many film girls that just love it. You're the first person to show love for Hubie Halloween without me bringing it up.
Really? Oh,
and
my God.
Like, yes, you win a prize. All right, this one may be too revealing of your age, but anyway, Aggro or Cheese TV?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know.
I can't.
Deadpool or Harlequin?
Deadpool.
Pizzas or burgers?
Pizza. Oh, no, I don't
Ooh,
know.
You swerve there.
I love both of those.
Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters?
Ninja Turtles.
Nice. And the final question for that part, if you could make the entire world watch one movie, what would it be? Would you make them watch something bad deliberately, or would you make them watch something amazing? What would you watch?
I think I wrote this down because I had to think very hard about that, like really hard. I was like, if I had to go to the cinema to see one movie for the rest of my life, I think it would be Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, right.
I think it's like my favorite romance movie. Like, I'm not really a big rom-com fan, but like Edward Scissorhands is like, I just feel like if everyone wants to know what romance is, just watch that movie.
Oh, lovely. Very nice.
Yeah.
Radio, it's time for the High Fidelity quiz because it was stolen from another show here on WOWFM called High Fidelity. Shout out to Shannon. Be sure to check him out every Sunday night at 8. What was your local video store growing up?
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of things you, like, was it, did it have, like, our local Blockbuster had a ride on horse that you put the coin in and you rode the horse?
Oh, yes.
Did your local have anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It also had like free posters. Like
Nice.
every
Yep.
time I went there, I wouldn't even know what movie it was. It could be like an R18 movie when I was 10. I just took the poster and put it up.
I remember specifically, and I know the year because of the movies. I used to just grab every poster,
Yeah.
make sure, like, I'd just check it was a different color. In the end, I'd take them. So I ended up with all these posters on my wall for
Right.
movies I'd never seen. Like, I remember Hoop Dreams, which I still to this day haven't seen. But I remember getting this one, a movie called The People vs. Larry Flynn.
Yeah.
And it's Woody Harrelson crucified on a giant crutch of a supermodel lady.
No.
And I put that up and it disappeared. And I just didn't understand what happened.
Where'd
But
it
it
go?
turns out Mum and Dad were like, yeah, you're not putting that one up. So
Wedding
anyway.
visit is over.
Yeah.
Gotta take it down.
Pretend you're 10 years old.
Okay.
What is your favourite TV show?
Probably Ghost Whisperer. Yeah, I loved Ghost Whisperer when I was really young. And then when that ended, I started watching Supernatural.
I love Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
For reasons.
She's amazing. Like, I loved that show when I was little.
And you jumped over into Supernatural.
Yeah. And
You're going to be one of those people.
look, I have 2 tattoos of it. I don't want to talk about it.
I feel so bad because one of my best friends, he was obsessed with that show.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get me into it. And what he was saying was, you can't judge because you spent most of high school loving Angel and not watching Buffy. He said, you have no say. And
Oh,
I was
no.
like, all right, I'll check it out. And I like went this one time to download it.
Yeah.
And it was like 14 seasons.
It's a
I'm like,
commitment.
I cannot catch up.
If I didn't start watching it when it like kind of first started when I was young, I would not bother to. Because I'm like, people are like, should I watch it? I'm like, yeah, if you're ready to sit down for like 2 years.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's exactly what I was like. I can't make that commitment.
No.
What if I don't like it?
Yeah, it's a lot.
What did I see Jensen Ackles is doing now?
Oh, he's in The Boys soon.
That's right. He's coming up in The Boys.
Yeah, and then he's making like a separate show about Supernatural. It's called Winchesters or something. But apparently, like, the other brother didn't know about it.
You know, I
Got
never made the
salty.
connection to your name until we've just had this conversation.
Oh my god, no!
And I was like, oh, you're one of those people that like that show.
Changing my name now. It's okay. It's okay.
Do you collect pop vinyls?
I do actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Every
I am one of
Supernatural
those.
fan collects pop vinyls.
But I only have 2 Supernatural
Doesn't
ones.
matter. Doesn't matter. I've found a connection recently and I was like, that's quite bizarre. Anyway, next question. 10-year-old, your favourite ice cream?
I didn't really eat much ice cream. Like, I mean, I did, but it was always just chocolate because I
Didn't
never...
want to end up looking like this? Like
No.
the fine physique, long distance runner that I am.
No, I loved like popcorn and stuff. Even my dad would always like offer me a choc top. I'd be like, nah.
Although I pick candy over chocolate.
Yeah.
And my kids can't handle that. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, it's not in the mood. Like, I just love like mixing popcorn with like M&Ms or something. Like, I'll
you're
do
one
that.
of those savages.
Yeah.
I've
I'm one
heard
of
about that
everything.
recently. I haven't tried it, but I'm too messy as is when I eat. So
Yeah.
doing that would just be a nightmare.
Well, I recently went to the cinemas and my partner told me to mix Maltesers with popcorn.
That's what I've heard.
And
yeah.
it was like I had chocolate in my hands and I was like, this is the best thing also that I've done.
I've told this story 1 billion times before, but I have trauma from going to the cinemas because a guy sitting near us when me and my wife went on a lovely date to watch the second Transformers movie, a guy took in a hot Coles chicken and ate it in the cinema. And I have no idea what happened in that movie because I just was hyper focused. I'm like, I have to watch this. This is like a performance
That
piece
is
of art.
alone.
I'd never seen that kind of commitment to being...
The movie.
I didn't really believe in cryptids and stuff, but
Yeah.
I have seen an otherworldly creature eat a Coles
That's
chicken.
funny.
And that smell, though.
Oh my God,
Because
it would've
you're like,
been.
is that the best smell ever, or is that a dirty nappy?
Yeah,
Like,
it's also really gross.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So yeah, that's a little bit of
Smell of
insight.
popcorn wasn't good enough for him.
No, that's it. How good is... There's something about cinema popcorn. Even if it's like... Have you seen, like, I know some of the cinemas, they do, like, the mass production popcorn, then they fill it in a bag and put it back in and warm it up the next day. I think that's magic. It tastes so good.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Favorite junk food as a kid?
I don't really remember. I think mint slices, I used to love those, and now I don't like them anymore.
What a weirdo.
Right? I
That's
think
such
because
a
my
bizarre-
dad bought them, and he was like, you're only allowed to have 2. And I was like, okay. But I would always sneak in the fridge and like try and grab them without him seeing.
You're eating after dinner mints. A treat for you is after dinner mints.
With mint slices.
Are you
How
okay?
Good. Honestly, no. Why couldn't it be Tim Tams or something good? Like,
Like, oh, and also like Crown mints that we'd buy off like the counter of a newsagent. Radio. Your favorite book as a kid?
The Witches. As I was saying, yeah. I remember, like, I loved that. It's so good.
Favorite toy?
I don't think I had a lot of toys. Like, I used to do Lego a lot.
Yep.
I built like the Pirates of the Caribbean, like the Black Pearl ship with my dad. Like, we had that, and he helped me build that. That was like the only thing that I really enjoyed, like, was Lego.
My kids got into that movie way too late because I watched them in high school.
I loved them.
And my kids only just started loving them. First COVID lockdown, we watched all of them.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we stopped at the one with Ian McShane because it got really boring.
Yeah.
They got obsessed. I'm like, I'm going to buy you the Lego. I looked up the price. I'm like, I'm not going to buy you the Lego. It's retired and it cost a fortune.
Oh, no, it does.
Radio, next question. Your Mount Rushmore of actors and actresses. Who are you putting up there?
So, actors and actresses that I love, 100% my number one is Killian Murphy.
Nice.
100%. Like, I have a tattoo of him in Peaky Blinders. Like, he is just I love him so much.
Well, spoiler alert for your list tonight. There was so much Killian and Tom Hardy. I'm like, I'm guessing I know a show that you love.
What happened? Yeah, no, 100%.
Does Tom get a run up there?
Oh, yeah, it was like the next one. I like Cam. I don't know how to say his last name. Cameron Monaghan. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I know.
But he
Monaghan.
plays.
Is that the Lord of the Ring dude, or am I mixing it up?
No, so he plays. He plays in Gotham as the Joker, but it's not the Joker. They call him Jerome.
Right.
And like he's supposed to be portraying the Joker, and like, he just does like the best job. Like, he's way better than Jared Leto, 100%.
That's not hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, really? After that, okay. And I love like Miles Teller, as I was saying before.
Yes,
like,
yep.
I'm not really a comedy fan, but I love his like things that he's in. There's too many. Like,
Did you watch his Fantastic Four?
I didn't.
It is not fantastic.
I was never a fan of Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I watched the old, like the original one, but I was like really young. I don't think I ever rewatched it. Just wasn't my thing.
Because I'm a creepy old man, I watched the original. And firstly, I was like, Jessica Alba's fun to look at. But secondly, Doctor Doom was in Home and Away when I was growing up.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I couldn't really I can't really take him that serious. And I don't know, but probably for actresses would be Emily Browning.
Yep.
Love her.
Nice.
She's great. She's such a good actress, like very underrated. Anne Hathaway.
Right.
I loved her. Like, I think I first watched her in like Bride Wars.
Yep.
Like,
I consider her unlikable.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
My partner just is like, really? Anne Hathaway? I was like, but everything she's been in, I love. Like, well, not everything, but like, I liked her as Catwoman. I loved her as.
To me, she just has that Julia Roberts self-satisfied aura about her, where it's like, I don't care if you don't like this because it's important to me. Which I also
see that though.
I thought that about Cate Blanchett as well, but I've warmed to her over the years.
I thought that about, like, I didn't really like Emma Stone at first, and then she did like, I didn't like her as Spider-Man, but she did like. I think I only liked her in like Easy A, and that was it. And then she did Cruella.
Underrated movie.
I love Easy A.
Yeah.
Easy A is so good. And then Helena, I don't know how to say her name.
Bonham Carter.
Yep. There we go. Yeah.
Nice. Tim Burton's wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you prefer to pretend it's 2018 because the world has changed since this question was originally written? Would you prefer to watch a movie at the cinema or at home?
Probably at home.
Don't have to wear pants at home.
Exactly. Well, like, I never really went. I think, like, I used to go to cinemas when I was really young with my dad, and then I stopped for a while, and I've only recently just started going back. And I didn't realize I actually really like it. Probably because of the popcorn.
Yep.
Like I bought popcorn from Foodland
and the
day.
monster mash that you make
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
Maltesers.
Yeah, exactly. The lights.
That's
turn
what we're
on
going
and
to
you're
call
like,
it now. It's monster mash because it
Okay.
makes you a monster just from mashing your hand.
They turn the lights on and you're like, what have I done? Like, okay.
I just imagine the lights going and you hiss at the like people that work there and then scurry away.
Yeah,
Like,
they come
"You
with their little
animal."
broom.
Yeah. Food of choice at the cinemas. Is it your monster mash?
Yeah, probably.
Monster mash, right?
Yes.
Name an actor or actress you would like to spend a night with. And it can't be one of the Supernatural brothers.
Okay, Killian.
Okay.
Killian Murphy. There we go. I thought you were going to say it can't be Killian. I was like, okay, Tom Hardy.
I'm so upset because as Killian ages, we get further away from his amazing portrayal. He could play David Bowie so incredibly
Right?
in a movie.
He could.
But he's starting to age out of it. Like, I've only just, because I'm quite behind, watched the most recent series of Peaky.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're starting to show your age.
I know. I think, yeah, because he was in The Quiet Place with his beard.
I watched that the other
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
He looks so much older, and I was like...
Enjoyed the movie. Enjoyed the first one. Killian is criminally underused in that movie.
Yeah, very. Like, oh, he's just such a
The
great
trailer
actor.
did kind of make it look like it was his show, and it wasn't.
I
Um,
know.
which film that didn't get a sequel deserves one?
Well, I wrote down Baby Driver.
Yep.
But I think they're actually doing another one. They like confirmed it this year that
I'm guessing with a lot less Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, 100%. They confirmed like the script was already done for like number 2, but I don't know if that is a thing anymore. But yeah, I would love to see that like after everything that happened in it.
Nice. Who would play you in your biopic?
See, I wrote Emily Browning because I think the way she's really quiet in that Sleeping Beauty movie, just like, and I think in that movie, I just related to her a bit. And I was just like, I feel like she would play me really well.
Just trying to think. Kristen Ritter is a suggestion that I have. Do you know who she is?
If you show me a face, I'm really bad with putting names to faces. Oh my God, Jessica Jones. Yes.
Yeah, Jessica. I don't watch Marvel TV, but
oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah, no. Yeah, I love her.
Getting that vibe, so.
Yeah, because I watched her in Don't Trust the
Yeah.
Apartment 23, and then I watched Jessica Jones like straight after it, and I was like,
she's out of a chick flick that I absolutely adore.
Which one?
She's Out of My League.
Yeah.
She plays the bitchy friend.
Yeah.
I just love that movie.
Oh, she's good.
Which movie freaked you out as a child?
I put a horror movie down. It was like I think it's called Dead Silence. It's about a doll.
The puppet. Yep.
Yeah. I don't mess with dolls anymore.
Ventriloquist dolls are freaky.
They're
I think
creepy.
A lot of it goes back to Slappy from Goosebumps when we were growing up.
Yep.
But then Toy Story 4, all the bad guys are ventriloquist dummies.
I
It's
don't
terrifying.
like them. I hate
It
them
is
so
so
much.
terrifying. All right. If you could add your favourite fictional character to any film, who would it be? What are you putting Killian Murphy in?
Okay, so I'm putting him in a Tim Burton film.
That
I
makes
feel
so
like he
much
has
sense.
the cheekbones to look really dead.
Definitely.
Like, I just feel like...
He could do a live adaptation of The Corpse's Bride.
Yeah, I was like, I actually could see him, like, because he's just got really hollow eye, like, under eyes, and, like, I could just see him, like, looking really, like, dead-like. Like, I don't know, I just see it, but I don't know what he'd play, though. That's the thing.
Did see that him and Danny Boyle were talking about doing a sequel to 28 Days Later.
Oh, okay.
Picking up from his storyline,
Yeah.
not 28 Weeks. And I was excited about that
Yeah.
because I want to know what happened to his character.
Right?
Love that movie.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
How many movies do you watch in a week? Say on your best week.
Probably 3 or 4. I've been trying to catch up on TV shows a lot because I feel like I watch a bit more TV shows than I do with movies. I have to really want to see the movie to like want to like
Yep.
just recently there's not been that much good movies out that I want to see. But yeah, I think like maybe 2 or 3 on a good
Nice.
week.
Yep.
Yeah.
You live your life much better than I. Like 2 and 3 a night sometimes.
Oh really? Yeah. See, but I want to do that, but then I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like I'll chuck something on, I'll be asleep halfway.
I
through.
have certain, like, because I do a podcast outside of this with the same name,
Mhm.
And if I'm watching something for that, I cannot be lying down because I watch movies that are low stakes where I'm like, if I'm enjoying it enough, I won't fall asleep.
Yeah,
but if I fall asleep, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So it's got to be the right like setup.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is a high fidelity quiz. I think it's time for a little bit more music before we get into your choices. You are listening to 100.5 WOWFM. Before we go to the next song, where can people check you out on social media?
Mainly Instagram at Winchester Angel 67. Nice. And the 67 does stand for the Chev Impala. I had that username when I was like 16, and it's just turned into my name now.
Have you named any pets after any characters from Supernatural?
Yes. My lizard, Castiel. Yeah,
Castiel. Yeah, I'm totally getting it. Any Salems at home or anything?
No, not yet. I don't have a black cat yet, so not yet.
No worries. So let's get into the music. This is DVG.
But I think that the music was a little loud.
Are you afraid of it?
No. I just don't like techno.
You would if you had robot ears.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
I hate your face.
Did you say something?
It is the choice of Winchester Angel. The very first movie we're talking about this evening comes from 1979, starring Xanadu's Michael Beck and James Remar, who went on to be in the terrible Mortal Kombat sequel. We are talking about The Warriors. Why did you choose this movie?
I love this movie so much. I watched it when I was way too young to know what was going on at all. I think because my dad watched it a lot as well. Same with another movie that I really didn't want to put on my list because I watched it way too young and I was like, why the hell did
What was that?
Clockwork Orange.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched that when I was way too young. I was like, it's my favourite movie.
I saw that in the early 2000s because apparently that movie was banned for like 20 years in Australia.
It's pretty intense.
It is intense.
But I was way too young to know what was going on. I just thought the guy was hot and I was like, oh yeah, I like this movie, hey? And then it was like on at 2 a.m. once and I was like, oh, my favourite movie's on. And I was like, what the heck?
It would have been better if you recommended it to other people. You're like, oh, you've got to watch my favourite movie of all time.
My dad's like, stop telling people that's your favourite movie. I'm like, why? It's good.
So The Warriors, it is set in New York City. All the armies of the Knights, the gangs that control the Knights in New York, all meet up with a big idea of basically there's more numbers in the gangs than there are the police. And they are all brought together and by the Riffs. And the Riffs are basically saying, if we all work together, we can run the city. And while they're there, Luther, the leader of the Rogues, kills the big boss that does one of the most iconic speeches. So anytime you hear "Can you dig it?" it is a reference to this movie. I have undying love for this movie, and it spawned the greatest video game of all time because when Rockstar released the Warriors game, I lived in that game for like 3 years.
It was so good.
I just wish it was a bigger game.
I know. I was like, I wish they could just like remake it and make it like so
just
amazing.
Put it inside of GTA because it's made by the same people. It'd be so good. How do you remember the first time you saw it? Is this something you went and saw? Obviously not the first time because of your age. Have you ever seen this one at the cinemas?
No. I used to just watch it in the lounge room and I just like kept repeating the speech. I like memorized it. I don't know it anymore, but I like memorized it off my heart. And then I did like a school drama performance where you have to do a monologue and I did that one.
Nice.
They're like, okay, cool, weird choice. I was like, yep. I love that it's like a comic kind of
100%
thing. Like
have you seen I got the director's cut, I reckon it was about 2008 on DVD, and they tried to work it, like, because obviously 300 was big at the time. They kind of tried to push this movie over that way. So it had all the comic book cuts between it, and they were trying to make it to be, apparently this was originally written by Walter Hill about the idea of the 300, like the 300 Spartan Warriors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of get that, but distance yourself just because 300's so popular.
It's way better like how it is.
How often do you revisit this?
Probably like once a month. I don't know, like I usually like it's one of my comfort movies. That sounds really weird, but it's just like I've watched it that many times that like if I'm having a day I'll just put it on and I just know it and it's like revisiting my like childhood.
Pre-COVID, I'd always intended on going to Coney Island.
Yeah,
because of this movie.
Yeah, I wanted to go and see the costumes and like.
Yep.
It's one of the guys. Some guy has it. He has the Warriors one, and he has one of the Baseball Furies outfits.
The jerseys,
and he lets people come and see it.
That's
like,
awesome.
That's one of my dreams, is just to be able to see it. That's so cool.
I remember James Remar, who's Ajax, who's my favourite, even though he's an absolute terrible person.
I know.
He was on Jimmy Fallon or something.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Fallon in the pre-interview was like, "Oh man, I love that movie so much." And
Yeah.
James Remar was like, "Wait here," and he had it in the car, and he went out and put it on and come back in.
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God.
"That is incredible."
Just have it in your car.
Yeah.
just in
Oh,
case
wouldn't you though?
Yeah. Wait till you see this.
Did you see a few years ago the surviving cast all got together and rode the train line down to Coney? That was pretty awesome.
Oh my God. Just like, imagine.
Awesome.
It's so cool to go there.
Quite often it comes up that they're going to do like a remake of this movie, but
I don't really want them to.
There's so many properties out there getting remade. Leave this one alone.
This one's already like, it's not like it's a shit old movie. Like, it's so good.
It's that I don't give much love to movies from the 70s, but this and the original Alien, I'm just like, they're classics.
It's not boring. It's not like, like it needs to be remade. Like, I think when you still watch it, like, you could still watch it. It could be like made today.
Yeah, definitely.
And it just has that old vibe to it. Like, that's how it feels when you watch it now.
Definitely.
It's so good.
It is time to get into your second movie. Let's hear the trailer.
Looks like you're keeping your bod pretty tight. You're looking pretty good yourself. Well, every day's a workout when you gotta carry around a 20-pound python in your jeans.
You and your dick comments.
It's fun to say them.
It's fun to hear them.
That's why I say them.
That's why I listen.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
From 2005, starring everyone's favourite actor, Killian Murphy, also with Liam Neeson, and I was just saying off air, one of my all-time favourite character actors in Brendan Gleeson. You just know you're going to get quality. He doesn't say yes to everything, but when he pops up, it's like he's like ice magic.
Yes.
You put him on top of a movie and it just makes it so much better. Why have you chosen the movie?
Oh my God.
Breakfast on Pluto. What is it about?
Oh, it's so underrated. Like, okay, so it's like, I'm surprised it's not that big, especially in like this century, like with like the LGBT community and stuff. Like, it's literally like, so Killian, he gets like put on a doorstep when he's a baby, so like he doesn't know who his mum is, and he grows up in an abusive foster home. And so Liam Neeson, who plays like this priest guy, is actually his real father. He basically like, so he grows up in like around all these people, and he's very different. He's transgender.
Yes.
No one agrees with that, obviously. And this whole film is just him like getting used and like thinking people like him, but then he ends up in like all these bad places. He runs away from home because he's old enough to like know that it's... That's right. I'm just like Killian, so he runs into home and gets a lot of these jobs along the way. So like magician's assistant, prostitute, like all this stuff. And yeah, it just goes on from there and just tries to find his mum, like his real mum. And I'm not going to say anything else.
Just looking at the synopsis online, honestly, this sounds like what I call Oscar bait. It is basically the trials and tribulations of a trans woman in the 1970s.
Yep.
And it's got Killian Murphy, it's got Liam Neeson and Brendan
So
Gleeson.
good.
I'm like, this has got to win an Oscar. But I tell no lie, before it was on your list, I had not heard of this film.
No one does. No one knows of it. I'm like, it's one of his best movies. I'm like, it's so good. It's so underrated. No one knows of it.
If I'm about to go to bed and like a movie's starting and in the scroll, either Brendan Gleeson or Killian Murphy's name
You're wide
scrolls,
awake.
I'm like, well, time to watch the whole thing.
Time to make a coffee. Yep. No, it's so underrated. And he literally looks like, I don't know if anyone's watched Peaky Blinders, but he looks like Grace. It's so good. Like, yeah, it's funny. People
also
make
got a
jokes
very
about
Prince vibe going on, but I guess it's
oh my
that,
God,
like,
the outfits in
the
it.
androgynous look anyway. So
The whole everything that she wears, I'm like, need it, 100% need it. It's so good. Like, the fashion in it is great.
Nice. How often do you revisit that one?
Quite a lot.
Yeah, right.
Like it's a very enjoyable movie. Like, I mean, a lot of, like, as I said, bad stuff does happen, and like it's got like the IRA in it and stuff, like about like hiding guns and stuff.
Yeah, because he leaves a small Irish town to move to London.
Yeah, and one of his friends is dating one that's part of it, and like he ends up dating someone that's part of it, and it's like a lot.
God, this sounds like an award bait film.
So good. Like he throws the guns in the river, and then the guy that he's dating is like runs away because he's scared he's gonna like, you know, it's insane. Like it's so good, and it's not boring. Like it feels really long, but it's so enjoyable. Like so much stuff happens in it.
That sounds fantastic, and it's actually on my watch list. I'm currently legally acquiring it, so I can't wait for that to finish legally downloading.
I know. I was like,
totally legal.
JB Hi-Fi don't sell it. I'm like,
I know,
Sanity.
well, that was the thing. Like, and that's the thing. You can tell it's an indie because it's like, why is this so hard to find? It's not on streaming.
Yep.
But I will see it. I
I
promise
got
I
it
will
on
see it
DVD.
before July ends.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard to find. I'm like, I just had to buy it like online, and I was just like, it's just too difficult to try and find a DVD of it or something. I think it's on video.
Nice.
I think you can buy it off Amazon on a video.
I'm a video guy.
Yeah, so
Nice.
I thought, I'm like, I would, but I don't have a player, so.
Let's get back into the music as we continue the list. Don't forget you can join in the conversation. Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM.
This is Dave's Video Graveyard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going back to the year 1979. It seems like Winchester Angel loves the 79 because the next movie started a franchise that to this day is still going strong. 2015-16, I believe, was the most recent installment, and it was voted by many, many critics as Film of the Year. Before coming back to the franchise, the director went and made Babe 1 and 2, Happy Feet 1 and 2, and then decided, I'm going to go back to where it all started. And of course, it all started in 1979, Mad Max, directed by George Miller, considered an Aussie classic, one of the reasons that Australian cinema was put on the map, one of Quentin Tarantino's all-time favourite movies. I've got to say, I love Mad Max. I love Part 2 better. That's just me. Mm-hmm. There was a part in Mad Max where his family are taken from him.
Yeah.
He gets the gun and runs down the road. And because it's early, young, I've been denied an acting school, Mel Gibson, he does a very flamboyant run. Like, it's very, like, for such a rough and grizzled character, he does such a, like, ballet dancer run. And I'm always like,
I love it.
And he's wearing his little tank top and his white jeans. And I'm just like, that just never sat well. Even as a kid, I was just like, that doesn't fit the character.
They really took too many takes. I'm like, that we give up. Just
yeah, maybe
just
he's being silly. They're like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Mad Max, why did you choose this movie?
Again, it was like another childhood movie of mine.
From when you were a kid in 1979.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, back then. Yeah, it was literally like The Warriors, Mad Max, and like just movies like that. It was really cool. I watched it religiously when I was younger. Every time I went to my dad's house, I was like, let's put on Mad Max.
And you say religiously because you dress like a nun every time you watch it.
Exactly.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, right? I was like, yep, Mad Max now. Yeah, it was like one of my dad's favorite movies as well. So when the new one came out, we were both just like, cinema now, done.
And it's so good that Toe Cutter went on to be Immortal Joe.
Yeah.
In like Fury Road.
Right.
Like,
and he recently passed away.
He did,
it was so
sadly.
Sad.
Yeah.
I know. I was so happy. I didn't realize it was him. And at the end credits, I was like, "No way!" I had to Google it. I was like, "That though, that's
Hugh
insane."
Keysburn. Yeah,
it's so good though.
And like I said, there are a few movies that can be credited as kind of the blueprint and the building foundation of the Australian film in general. So Mad Max is one, obviously Crocodile Dundee, Priscilla, The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Mm-hmm. But this is the OG. Like this and Picnic at Hanging Rock were like the cornerstones of Aussie films.
Yeah, it's like when you think of Aussie movies like Mad Max, Crocodile Dundee.
When I saw this in The Warriors on your list, I'm like, you're either full of it or you're a genuine film fan.
I just Googled like random movies that make me seem cool.
Top 10 movies a wanker would pick.
Yeah, literally.
No, that's it. No, this is fantastic. And like I said, pretty impressive that you've picked Mad Max 1 because we've many times on the show talked about The Road Warrior, aka Mad Max 2.
Yeah.
Even I think Fury Road made it on there. No one's picked Beyond Thunderdome, even though that Tina Turner song is an absolute banger.
I loved it. I think I just watched number one way more.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the one I watched, and
Because of age, for me, it's because he's so close to Riggs in Lethal Weapon age that I'm like, I'm all about it still. He's got the mullet going for most of it. Yeah, Mad Max, what an incredible film.
Yeah, I recently, well, not before COVID, I went to a convention, and I'm not sure if it was Comic-Con or Supernova, but a lot of the new War Boys from the new movie were there.
Yep.
And they had like the comic out and stuff, and like I got to talk with like one of them. It was the one that was like hanging off Furiosa's door while she was, it was that one. And he was telling me about like how they were going to make one just about Furiosa.
Yes.
And I was like,
which is still happening, I believe.
Yeah, I think if you Google it, it'll be like Furiosa 2022 or something. And I'm like, that's so cool.
It upset a lot of film bros though that didn't want. I don't want a lady movie.
Oh, that's not. Yeah. Oh, that was I don't know. She was very quiet in that film.
Yeah, and so was Max, but it's like he's been like that in all these movies.
He's had like how many movies?
Yeah.
Like this is her like. You know,
Exactly.
it's like we don't know who she is.
I would take a Furiosa movie over no more Mad Max. So
Yeah,
if that's how we have to get it.
Moving on from like, because there's been like 4 about him now, and it's like I think that introduces another massive character, and you didn't really learn much. Well, you did learn about her in the movie, but not as much as you'd be like, I know exactly who she is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like from moving on from him, like could be good.
Yep. Let's go even further back. No surprise, some of the actors in the movie that you've chosen next. Let's go back to 2012 and check out this one.
See, in this world, there's 2 kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
It is DVG as we continue the Winchester Angels 10 favourite movies of all time. We're going back to 2012 to Franklin County to talk all about the movie Lawless starring Shia LaBeouf and someone called Tom. This movie was written by Nick Cave, and it shows because, for lack of a better term, this movie is quite bleak. Are you okay? I'm noticing a theme in your list. You do enjoy the... I like to relax and watch really gritty movies.
It's my comfort movie.
It sounds like it. Tell us about this movie.
I actually read the book as well.
Oh, la-di-da, you can read.
I found
Humble
it for
brag.
$2 in the op shop.
Nice.
And I think I watched the movie and then I read the book, and the book made me like love it even more because it just had like so much more in it. Like the beginning scene was like 2 seconds, and then it was like 2 pages in the book, and it was just insane.
It's very Bonnie and Clyde.
It is. I don't honestly, I don't know why I love this movie. I think this kind of movie I have a pattern with, like I just love so much. I don't know if it's like, I really don't know, hey. I think I just like the way it's portrayed, and like it's very true. I like true stories.
Yep.
Especially with like the real Bondurant brothers.
Yep.
Like when you read about them and stuff, like it's very well done, I think.
So are you a fan of true crime?
Yeah. I love when like...
Guess what?
What?
You're a supernatural fan. I'm going to make a bingo card because honestly, you tick it every box.
Oh my God, I don't like this. This is funny as...
Directed by John Hillcoat, written by Nick Cave. And like I said, boy, does it come through. His melancholy music, he can write into movies as well.
It's just...
And I think this movie, much like the film Fury, I don't know if you've seen that, David Ayer's Fury, Shia LaBeouf is so incredible. And we forget, it's one of those things, almost like when Miley Cyrus sings her country-esque songs.
Yes, yep.
Everyone's so focused on all the like annoying stuff that they do. They miss the gold.
Right?
Because between this and Fury, I think Shia LaBeouf is one of the greatest character actors. But all anyone thinks about is like, oh, that's that guy that was a knob on the Transformers
Every
movies.
time I say this is one of my favorite movies, they're like, oh, is that the one with Shia LaBeouf? And I'm like, oh, yes. Yes, it is, but it's amazing.
You know, if you can forgive him for Suburbia, the remake of Rear Window, you can forgive him and check out
This is
his...
so good.
really amazing in a lot of things.
Yeah. I think I really loved him in this movie, and that made him like me watch more of his stuff because I was like, I can't remember something I watched him in, but I knew he was a bit popular.
Dumb and Dumberer, probably.
Oh yeah,
because he plays the centaur in that movie.
Yeah, I was like, so I watched this, and I was like, he's such a good actor. I was like, oh my god, like him, Tom Hardy.
You're dribbling a little bit right now.
Yeah, no. Guy Pearce. Well, not the haircut, like you said.
Oh, Guy Pearce's haircut in this movie reminds me of Jeffrey Combs from The Frighteners. It must be a period like hair. It must be a legit.
Have you
real
seen
haircut
some of the haircuts in Peaky Blinders?
Exactly.
Have you?
It's so funny. Like even I had the haircut, the Macklemore haircut, where everyone was the Phil and Lil hairdo.
Yeah.
And then you watch Peaky Blinders, and it almost you're like, oh, that's weird. Oh no, it's actually how they had their hair back then.
Yeah. I think I was watching an interview with them, and they're like, you have to cut your hair like this, and they're like, oh, maybe not.
Well, it's particularly Killian. It's like, oh, thank God he put that like baggy cap back on to hide
just
that
keep
haircut.
that on, all right?
Awesome. Lawless is fantastic film. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one I'll say you got to be in the mood for this one.
You really do.
Because it's a slog if you're not in the mood.
Just the beginning scene, you have to be like, oh my God, like, you have to be ready for it. Like, it's a lot.
It is.
And like I said, like, Guy Pearce is such a hateable character, but
he does that so well.
You love him so much for portraying how bad how bad he was in it.
But he's another person. And Gary Oldman's in this movie, we completely forgot. This is one of those films where there are so many incredible character actors bouncing off each other. No one stands out because it's just the bar is set so high that everyone seems like they're not doing much.
That's what I like. Is like Tom Hardy doesn't shine in it.
No,
he is literally like I think.
Spoiler alert! You spend the whole movie waiting for him to do something big and amazing, and it doesn't come.
Just without him grunting, you're just like say something. But
early in the film, Tom Hardy's character, even though he's because of his like southern accent, he's almost undistinguishable words coming from his mouth, but he gets a throat injury halfway through the movie.
Which makes it even worse.
And you're like, oh, thank goodness for subtitles with this movie. So
and you have to wait for him to like be able to speak, and you're like, this movie's going to go on forever to be able to hear him say something.
Well, let's get into a feel-good movie. I think it is time that we lighten things up as we go to a not feel-good movie here on DVG.
Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Are you my dad's brother?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
38.
I'm your dad's brother, all right.
You have much more hair and your nose than my dad.
How nice of you to notice.
I'm a kid, that's my job.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
95 for my money.
Right now in the good year of 2021, the entire world caught fire again because we didn't know whether we liked Zack Snyder or hated him because we released the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. And of course, he also released Army of the Dead. Both movies I fairly enjoyed. However, we're going to perhaps one of the most diversive films in his career. Some people say it's a work of art, and so many people, and it seems to be the most vocal people online, hate the movie Sucker Punch. It is from 2011, and it is one thing I love about Zack Snyder. He has style over substance. And we're just talking off air about how Peaky Blinders, its production design is so incredible, top to bottom. And this movie, much like a good friend of the show, Steve, picked this as his all-time favorite movie and explained every shot of this movie could make an amazing poster because it's like, I remember one of the comments on the original trailer that someone wrote, because it always stuck with me. Someone's like, this guy installed Photoshop way too hard. And it's like, yeah, I get it, because it is so over the top with the CGI, but I think it's perfect for what it is.
I think it's amazing.
And to then add, like, everyone's like, oh, it's just a dumb movie. It's like, no, it's not, because it has so many levels, because it's essentially the main character who's institutionalized by her abusive father creates a coping mechanism that's an alternative reality. And that's where she's a super action star. Well, a hero in that. And, oh, man, why do people not love this movie?
I don't
How
No.
often do you come up against people that hate this movie?
Everyone I know.
Yep.
I don't think, except for Georgia, that's, you
Yep.
know, going to be on the show soon. That's like who she cosplays as and is like the biggest fan of. I think she's the only one that I know that likes it. I don't think I've met one person that's like, oh, like, I love it. They're just like, I couldn't sit through it, or it just got so boring, or I don't get it. I don't like it.
I reckon a lot of the bros are like, like we talked about earlier, girls can't be the heroes of the movies.
Oh, I know.
John Hamm is a monster in this movie, but more importantly, Emily Browning steals, like, she deserves so many awards for this that they did not get.
I know.
Oscar Isaac's in there, Jamie Chung, like, honestly, Vanessa Hudgens, everyone.
Yeah.
Not to be objectifying anyone, everyone in this film is beautiful.
I know. Everyone. And like,
Carla Gugino is one of my all-time favorite actresses. Oh man, this I have to revisit it to make sure I'm not wrong, but yeah, this is a movie like, because I also love The Watchmen.
Yes,
because that actually got me so much into it that I bought the graphic novel and read back and got right into that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, a lot of the gatekeepers will be like, that's not how you were supposed to enjoy comic books. It's like, shut up.
Shush.
I loved it. I didn't know who Jeffrey Dean Morgan was before Watchmen, so
I know,
whatever.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I didn't even know him in was it The Walking Dead that he was in?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, oh, he's in that?
I'd left like 2 seasons before he rocked up.
Yeah.
So. Awesome. How often do you revisit this one?
Not as much as the others. I think.
Do you know if you saw this at the cinemas for the first
No,
time,
I
or
didn't.
you hired it on DVD?
Yeah, I hired it because no one wanted to see it. So like they watched the trailer, they're like, "Oh, it looks average," and I was like, "All right," and like, yeah, no, I just watched it on my own because no one wanted to see it.
It so often gets lumped in with that really terrible mummy movie with all the terracotta warriors, like the third third one.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's one of those movies where you can argue that it's deliberately not dumb.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, no, it's deliberately dumb. Like it's so Zack Snyder's one of those directors where 50-50.
Yeah.
Everyone hates him with a passion of 1,000 suns, and then he's 1,000 people's favorite director. Like
yeah. Either you love him or you hate him. Like that's all I've come across is like, I either love it or I hate it. And I'm like, okay. It's like people who haven't watched it, they're just like, nah, I don't like it.
I love the ending of this movie, not to give anything away.
Yeah, no. It's a great it's very underrated. Like, yeah. This is like one of her best films. I was watching Sleeping Beauty, I think she's in.
Yep.
That was I think I had to watch it twice because I was a bit like confused with it. But I think it's like you don't see Baby Doll in any of the other movies that she's in because I think this is probably one of her biggest movies. And you watch her in other stuff and you don't see Baby Doll, which is what I see sometimes with actors or actresses, is like you see the same
100%.
character. Like with Johnny Depp, like he plays some characters that are like exactly the same in other movies. Like Jack Sparrow looks like he acts like the Lone Ranger.
Yes.
Like they're similar or like, you know. So I'm like, I love that she's just
diverse.
Yeah, it's so good.
Awesome. Well, let's get into your next choice here on DVG, and we'll play the trailer now.
What is it?
It's a gun rack.
A gun rack? A gun rack. Yeah, right. I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack. What am I gonna...
The driver, we being myself and the Winchester Angel, as we continue through the guest choice special this evening. You've chosen Baby Driver, directed by Edgar Wright, the man responsible for the Cornetto trilogy, one of my all-time favourite 3 films. Edgar Wright cut this entire movie to the soundtrack, so he had the songs he wanted to use in mind, and then went through and edited each scene to the song that was playing at the time. And then he had a lady that was in charge of securing the rights of the songs.
Yeah.
And she said it was I saw an interview with her, she's like, it was the most stressful time in her life, knowing that entire scenes were tied to the songs that he had edited to. This movie is stylistically incredible. Mm-hmm. But it does feature what we call the Spacey effect, which is it features one of the most cancelled people on earth.
I know.
Kevin Spacey. But it doesn't take anything away from the film, I've got to say. So many amazing bits. What I really liked about it is I don't like Jamie Foxx as an actor. He just bothers me.
Yeah.
He's always I don't know. Something about him I don't like, but in this, he's not likable. His character's not supposed to be likable.
Exactly.
I'm like, finally he's been cast in a role that's perfect.
Exactly.
John Hamm's also in there. John Berthnall, who's now the Punisher. And Ansel Elgort. I have so much trouble. It always sounds like you're like swallowing halfway through his... He is fantastic as Baby. He's essentially a getaway driver for a bunch of bank heist crew, all funded and organised by Kevin Spacey's character. And because he, like you heard in the trailer, he's got the eardrum injury, he's always playing headphones to keep him focused, to get rid of the pitch. But he also loves to record everything he hears to make mixes. Halfway through the movie, the heist guys realise that he's recording everything they've been saying. And they think that he's there to try and set them up. But he's actually just putting it in trap music and stuff.
He makes,
it's so good.
It's a really good action movie.
It is non-stop. Like, I saw this one at the cinemas, and I was like, I actually turned into an old man watching this because I'm like, oh man, those tire squeaks are heaps loud. I wonder if it's too loud.
I'm not usually like a car action person, and then I saw this and I was like, Fast and the Furious 2. I'm like, this is my thing. I'm like, this movie.
Ryan Reynolds and Michael Bay released like last year Six Underground, and it's so trying to be this movie that I was like, I'm just gonna go watch Baby Driver again.
This movie is too good to like for anyone to try and be it. It's amazing.
And it has so many incredible jokes in it that, like,
I know.
It's still not really a comedy though. That's one thing I love about it. Like, quite often a movie will sprinkle comedy throughout and it turns it into a comedy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This movie is a high-paced action heist movie with music done perfectly and comedy done perfectly throughout.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like a few like jokes or whatever here and there, and it's just like just naturally funny. It's not like trying to be funny. It's just like naturally like, oh, that was funny.
Did you see this one at the cinemas?
Yes.
How good is it?
I walked out. I was like, because I was like, this is a movie that I'm too excited for.
It's also got sprinkles of hyper violence that you're not ready for.
Yeah.
And so something super violent will have me like, oh my goodness.
At the ending as well, I was just like, oh my God. I was like, no way. It's like, geez, I need a number 2. I need to see what happens after this.
I thought you'd be like, gritty ending. I'm on board. Now I love it.
I know. I was like, I just was so curious because I was like, like I don't want to spoil it, so I'll just pretend to be like, he did that and got out and stuff, and I was like.
Now, a thing I'd like to start Dave explaining to my guests. I look at your lists and I think of movies and I'm like, I'm going to suggest this movie based off the movies you've chosen this evening. Have you seen a movie called True Romance?
I don't think so.
So there's Christian Slater, Brad Pitt's in there, quite young. I recommend that movie to you.
It sounds familiar, but I don't reckon I've seen it.
Because it's got without the car stuff, it's got a very Baby Driver vibe.
Okay.
It was written by Tarantino, but not directed by him. Directed by Ridley Scott. But honestly, please check out True Romance.
I will. I'll
because
write it down.
It fits so perfectly on your list. So that is my recommendation based off your list.
All right, I'll watch it.
Got to play a couple of ads before we go any further. This is 100.5 WOW FM.
Relax, don't you rest when you want to go.
What is this?
A center for ants? What? How can we be expected to teach children to learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building? The center has to be at least 3 times bigger than this.
Talking movies on the radio. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
It is Dave's Video Graveyard. Winchester Angel is taking us through her all-time favourite films of all time. And we are going back to 2007 to talk about a movie that I thought was honestly written in about this time, but then rewatching the second Addams Family film, realised that they're doing that play in the movie, and they're doing it justice. We are talking about Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, starring Mr. Johnny Depp. This has got to be a Tim Burton movie. Yep, Tim Burton directed. Helena Bonham Carter, Alan Rickman. It is so Tim Burton, it's not funny.
It is. I didn't even know it was Tim Burton when I watched it, and I was like, it has to be a Tim Burton movie. And I looked at it, it was.
And I do like, there's something to be said about an actor when they're not the strongest singer, but when they're used the right way,
Yeah.
it's perfection. And
Yeah.
the way that Johnny Depp sings in this movie, because it is a musical, because it started out as a stage musical, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's like a really, really like 50s version of it, like
Yep.
black and white. I don't think there's much voice in it. It was just really, really old Sweeney Todd.
I saw this at the movies, and it has rivers of blood.
But
It's
it
almost
looks so
shining.
fake.
I know. It's almost shining level. It reminds me of like Monty Python and the Holy Grail when they cut
Yeah.
the knight's arm, and it's just sprays of blood. Why did you pick this film?
I'm not the like I love my musicals, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like I have to really love it.
Grease
Like,
2. What do you think of Grease 2? No?
No.
Grease 1?
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors?
I'm not. See, I don't know. Even my mum, it's the same. She doesn't like musicals at all. But
Yep.
this is one that she can sit through.
Yeah.
Like she loved it
Because it's hyper-violent.
I know. but she trust me, she hates musicals.
If I read your list without this on there and you're like, what musical do I like? I'd look at your bleak list, your cry for help in the form of
You
movies.
choose Mamma Mia.
Yeah, 100%. It'd have to be Hairspray.
Mamma.
This movie's brutal.
I know.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Totally far removed from your brand of the rest of the films.
Very, very. I think my first ever solo with burlesque was in Halloween, and I was Miss Levette, and I had the barber knife, and
Yep.
I had to like glue like plastic on the edges to like not like
Cut yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, then I ordered like a really bad costume of hers
Awesome.
offline, and like I didn't know how to sew or make things. I was just starting out.
Yep.
And so I just added a corset on top and made my day with
Burlesque.
it. Yeah. But like I've still got it, but I'll never wear it ever again.
You go get the, I'm not taking anything away from it, but go and get the cheap stripper outfit from like a costume land.
Yeah.
Put a corset on. Boom. Burlesque.
That's pretty much what I did with online. I was just like $90 for the whole thing. And I was like, done. I added a corset.
Yeah.
Done.
You know, and then you move on and you rhinestone some stuff.
You see, I could probably now that I could probably revamp it.
Yeah.
Like I actually am thinking about revamping it in like a totally different, way better way.
You're going to wear it backwards, basically.
Yeah, just put it on inside out and add the corset again, and we're good. Just
Hey,
add a
it's
wig.
like undies. You'll get heaps of wear out of
Yeah,
that one.
exactly. No, I was thinking about like really revamping it and making it not so $90 from the costume shop. Like that's not bad. Like I would do that, trust me. But like, it was that obvious that I was like, what did I do? Like, come on.
This movie, because I'm a fat guy, I watch movies, and whenever food shows up in movies, I'm like, oh, I'm craving this. This does not make me crave pies.
No, it makes me like hate them. I'm like every time I go like see a pie, I'm like, no. Nope.
I must say that The Simpsons did a version of this particular version of Sweeney Todd, and it's perfection.
So did The Office.
They did. They did.
I love that.
Have you seen the second Addams Family movie?
No.
From the 90s?
No.
The two kids get on stage at the local, like at the school performance night, and they do Sweeney Todd, but they've just rigged up hoses of blood, and they're just
That's all you need to
squirting
do,
the audience.
though.
It's the best. Just find that scene on YouTube. You would love it. It is so you.
That's all you
It's
need
not,
to do.
but unfortunately, because it's Addams Family, it's not quite bleak enough for you. Maybe if you watch it and then someone punches a puppy at the end, then you'd be
That
like,
could probably be like
favorite movie.
my style. But no, this was, but it's very obviously fake blood though, which made it like less gruesome than it should be. But yeah, I love that. Like, what's his name? The guy who played like Ali G in it.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, him. I didn't realize that was him. I was like, that's him, but I was like, no way.
He's another one of those actors like we're talking about with Johnny Depp and like Gary Oldman, where they disappear into the roles.
Yeah, it's such a good movie though. I love it. Even the music, I'll like listen to it sometimes because it's just so good.
Yep.
I love it.
And how badly do you wish there was a film of Threat Level Midnight?
Okay, no. So I was going through my list of movies, and me and my partner are like Office fanatics. Like on our first date, we watched it. Like I'm not kidding. That's
Yep.
all we talked about. That's all we wanted to watch. And like for like the continuous relationship of us, that was all. And we have like matching T-shirts now. Like
Nice.
So as I was going through my list, he's like, "Where's Threat Level Midnight?" And I was like, damn it. And so I put it on there and I was actually going to send it as a joke.
You should have done it. You should have done it. You've missed your opening.
I saw someone that had like a movie poster in their house of it, and it looked like a proper vintage
Wow.
movie poster, and it was like Michael's gun with like the gun and like golden face, and it was like a vintage movie poster of it, and I was like, I need that.
There
in my
was,
life.
I saw a thing on, it was either Etsy or Redbubble or something. There was a T-shirt and it had like an old-fashioned cinema on the front. And
Yeah.
you know, like the movie posters at the side.
Yeah.
One was Threat Level Midnight,
Stop.
and on the other side was Lethal Weapon 6 from Always Sunny in
No
Philadelphia. And I was
way.
like, did I make that? That is the shirt I need. that is
movie
incredible.
Amazing.
It is.
I
Wow.
love it. It's such a good one. I wish I did that now.
Well, you've missed your chance, but we'll do honorable mention Threat Level Midnight.
I wasn't sure if you'd know it. That's why I was like, he's probably like, what the hell is this?
I'm a loser. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Let's get back into the music. This is DVG.
And if someone comes up to you with an attitude, you say, eat me. And if you want to shine them on, it's hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, or later, dickwad.
You're listening to Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
It is Dave's Video Graveyard, travelling back in time a little bit now to talk about the Winchester Angel's favourite film of all time, featuring the Joker that isn't Jared Leto, because you did say earlier that you love Jared Leto's Joker
Don't even
more
say
than anything.
That. Don't you dare.
We're back in 2008 when Christopher Nolan made almost a perfect trilogy. We are talking about The Dark Knight, featuring the final performance of what, well, technically, because they released all the other stuff, like the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Pretty much the final performance of Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose this movie?
I was tossing up between a few of them. I think Batman.
Killian's in the first one. So
Yeah,
like,
I actually didn't know that when I was like starting to watch Killian movies. I was like, rewatching stuff, and I was like, no way, he's like one of my favorite villains, the Scarecrow. I was like, no way. Yeah, I didn't realize it was him. He looks so different.
He does.
But I was really having trouble because I was like, that man's like one of my all-time favorite. Like, you know, I was like, I have like a tattoo of it. Like, I love it, and it's just too much to decide. So I was like, I'll just pick The Dark Knight because it's like one of the best. Like, I know it's cliche, but it's a great film.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a tattoo of Heath in The Nurses.
Nice.
I was like, I wanted a tattoo of him. My dad had a tattoo of him as a Joker.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I want to copy you now. So I got him. I was like, if I'm going to get anything, it's going to be in The Nurses outfit.
It's so funny. I grew up as one of those guys that's like, no way anyone will ever top Jack Nicholson because I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's the greatest Joker. This movie came out, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, okay. Yeah, I don't know how they expected Jared Leto to follow that, to be honest. I was like, and they tried to make him better and it didn't work. But I think, yeah, I love Bane as well. Like, it was really hard to choose between this one and the Rises one because Bane is such a good character even though he doesn't say anything. Say anything again. But that one's really good as well. Yeah, but like one of my all-time favorite villains is not in any of the movies except for like maybe like 1 second on the boats.
I'm trying to guess who that is.
Alright, I've got a tally mark tattoo.
Tally mark.
Yep, specifically for this villain. He's more in the comics and the games.
Is that played by Tiny Lister? Because I'm just thinking the boats.
So it's you don't really see him at all. It's like a 1 second split second. And he's recently been in the new Harley Quinn, I'm pretty sure. But they portrayed him so badly. Like, so badly. So it's the villain, Victor Zsasz, that has all the tally marks on him.
Right.
For like every time he kills someone, he tallies himself on his
Yep.
skin. In the newest Harley Quinn movie, I don't know what I think Birds of Prey, they portrayed him with like hair and scars on him, but they weren't tally marks. They were just scars everywhere. And I was like, in what world do you Google Victor Zsasz and that is it? I was like, it was a bit weird. Like, I don't know, I was a bit iffy on that movie.
Do you know one of the greatest DC villain movies, well, hero and villain movies of all time is? And I don't care what anyone says. Teen Titans Go to the Movies is one of the greatest DC movies ever released.
Oh my God.
I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
The new.
Yeah, the most they've actually released a new. It's an animated. It's the kids movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But they just released Teen Titans Go and See Space Jam.
Oh no!
It's so bizarre. I haven't
wanna
watched
see
it.
that now.
Deathstroke was always my favorite because I was a huge Deadpool fan before the movies.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this guy because it's where Deadpool was ripped off of.
Yeah, and like I mean, Victor Zsasz was in Gotham as well. He was a massive character in that, and he was played. I can't remember his name.
Surely he
but-
was in Batman: The Brave and the Bold, the cartoon.
Yeah, he's like such an underrated villain, but yeah.
Is there a comic book arc that he was a big part of, or you've just always loved the lesser guy?
No, I loved him like because he just appeared. Like he was one of those villains that appeared like even when you're playing the game, like you'll be on a mission and it would just be like like a side mission kind of thing. It'll be like you're getting a call from like Victor Zsasz, like do you want to do this? So it was kind of one of those kind of characters. And yeah, I think The Dark Knight for me just I don't know. It's just one of those movies that like makes you appreciate like movies and like I don't know because my dad and I were obsessed with Batman, so we went to every like DC movie in the theaters, like everyone.
And even though it was in flashbacks, this features 2 members of Breakfast at Pluto.
Yeah.
Breakfast on Pluto.
Yeah. I was because like a lot of people are like, why aren't you more Marvel? Like Marvel's way better. But like I grew up with DC, but I love Marvel now. Like don't get me wrong, I love Marvel. But for me, like the darkness of this movie, like it doesn't change. Like it's always dark. It's very
Bleak in some points.
Yeah. Listening back to me,
It's a very high contrast film. I always call this film, I don't know if you've ever seen the original, this is Christopher Nolan wanted to make the movie Heat.
Yes.
But he also wanted to make a Batman movie. And this is the perfect, it's 50% Heat and 50% Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like, I don't know. I think it's just like a...
We never got closure on Joker's character because the final time we see him, he's hanging upside down outside the gym.
Upside down.
I'd love to know what the plan was if Heath didn't pass away.
Right. I wonder if he'd like... I don't know, like, would he be with Bane in the next
Well,
one?
because
Like,
when Gotham falls to pieces in Dark Knight Rises, surely Joker would play a huge part in that.
Yeah, because I was thinking that too. I was like, when I saw Rises, I was like, I wonder what part of this the Joker would have, or like if it would just be completely changed, like the whole plot of it. But I mean, Bane is such a big character in itself that I don't know.
Do you watch much of the DC animated movies?
Yeah, I love them.
I went and saw, the only one that's disappointed me so far was The Killing Joke.
Oh
just because,
yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Like I love the comic, but when I watched it, I was like, this is so average.
Yeah.
It's like this is what? It's like one of the most popular animated.
Yeah, well,
movies in
also
DC.
to grow up having like Batman in the animated series for myself with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
To have them voice it. And, Kevin did the games as well.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's just like, oh man, how did this miss?
I know. It's it's so popular that I'm like, how did they stuff up like that?
I think it's your fault personally, but that's just
Probably is. They're like, we need to keep it not too much.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about I reckon your second last movie. We've got 15 minutes to get through it. This is DVG.
I just realized something. I never actually killed anyone before. I mean, I dropped bombs on Baghdad, but never face to face. I don't know what the big deal is. I really don't.
Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
It is DVGs. We continue the conversation. The second final movie we're talking about this evening, starring Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy as the notorious Cray twins. It is it's Nutty
Tom Hardy.
It's Nutty Professor from 1996, done in the serious way because he's playing multiple roles, quite often CGI'd him with himself. Seamless. It's fantastic. And there is no point in this movie where you go, well, that's just the one actor playing two people. I find it so believable, him as two different characters.
My mum thought it was two different people. She's like, that's not Tom Hardy. He's got bigger lips as that one. I was like, no, Mum. He doesn't have a twin brother in real life. It's him.
Oh, man, what a movie. Why did you choose it?
I'm a sucker for, gangster movies.
It
and
ticks every
mafia
box.
Ones, like
Hyper-violence. It is a true story. It is true crime. It is
I watched
bleak.
a documentary on the Cray twins, and I was like really invested in it. I read a couple of books on them as well, like the real ones, not the legend novel. And then I didn't realize that there was a movie for it, and I was like, no way! And there was Tom Hardy. I'm like, how did I miss this?
That is great.
How did I miss?
I just became the oldest man ever by making that dad joke.
That is great.
Thank you very much.
That was a good one though. I think it's just such an intense film, but it's done so well, like with him playing two different people, and like the fight scene where it looks literally like he's fighting himself.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that? It's so good.
What a movie. And
I know.
I felt like this went under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, because if you know who the Krays are, you've seen it.
Yeah.
But so many times I bring this up, when particularly in a conversation with Tom Hardy, I'm like, have you seen Legend? They're like, with Tom Cruise? I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah, my mum thought it was a Tom Cruise, and I was like, no, Legend with Tom Hardy. And she's like, what? It's like, yeah, no
Two
one knows
Tom
who
Legends,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, like everyone thinks it's that one, and they're like, no, I haven't seen it.
I would love the idea of someone hearing about Legend and watching this and be like, when does Tim Curry show up as the devil? This is really weird. Yeah. He's not going to fit in this film.
I think it's a great movie. It's up there.
Awesome. Well, we better get to the final choice. It is one of the most recent films on the list. Let's hear the trailer.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is DVG on WOWFM.
It is DVG. We're talking about a film. If I may talk about myself like I do a little bit. I saw the trailer for this and I'm like, this is going to be garbage. No one needs a Cruella origin story. This is going to suck. Guess what? This movie is fantastic.
I was like, I need to see this in the cinema. It's such a movie that I was going to buy it on Disney Plus, and I was like, no, I need to see it in the cinema. It feels like such a big film.
I loved when this was announced. Spoiler alert going forward, of course. When this movie was announced, someone was like, oh, I suppose, like, what? You know, Dalmatians are going to kill her mum?
Oh, my God.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, probably. You don't know.
Man, this movie is highly stylized. We were just talking off air, and I talked about it earlier this evening. The music in Cruella is perhaps one of the greatest soundtracks in the last 5 years. Like, I grew up in the 90s where movies could not afford to get this kind of soundtrack. This is... Every scene is embellished with perfect music, much like we're talking with Baby Driver. Like, it feels like the songs were written for the movie, which is not the case. Emma Stone, we both talked about, not a fan before, you know.
Like, Easy
other
A.
than Easy A.
Yeah.
I did like her in Superbad as well.
Yeah, that was not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then she was in Spider-Man, and I was like, no, I can't do it.
You just hate Gwen.
No, I just didn't like her as Gwen.
You just wanted to hit her head. That's all you want. You were clapping in that movie. You're like, yes, it's gritty. I'm on board. Why did you choose Cruella?
Well, I wasn't actually going to put it down as it's like really new, but like I just fell in love with it. I mean, I'm not the biggest Disney fan. I haven't seen half the Disney movies, but I am a sucker for Cruella. The fashion in it, insane. I've loved fashion for years, and it just was... The whole trailer, I was like, the fashion in that is so amazingly... Like, my next burlesque act is where she lights the dress up. So I was like, that's something I'm doing. I'm working on that currently.
You're just going to wear a fire suit and not actually transform. You just be on fire. You're like, yeah.
Yep, so that's coming. No. Or like the one where what are they, like the bugs come off the dress?
Oh,
the
yeah,
shells?
the cherubs.
Yeah.
Not cherubs.
But like... She makes that
the
dress.
moth things.
Yeah, and then they...
Cicadas or whatever they... Yeah.
Yeah.
That bit was really cool. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. That was so sick. I was like, stop, that's amazing.
I love when Mark Strong turned up because I'm like, what are you doing here, Mark Strong? And I'm like, you were really good in this movie because you're not a bad guy.
But the soundtrack, as you're saying, like, half of the songs I've already done, I've performed to, and some of them I've been thinking about, and after I saw that movie... me and one of my friends, Stuart, who does burlesque as well.
Shout out, Stuart.
Shout out to Stuart. We both looked at each other and were just like, right, black and white silk fans. We need to note all this down before we go to sleep. We're like made a massive
You're like knocking on the doors of fire departments. Being like, do you have a Dalmatian I could borrow?
I have some ideas. We just looked at each other when it ended and we were just like, that movie was like amazing and so inspiring. Like not even just like in a burlesque way, it was just so inspiring. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I felt amazing after it.
Awesome.
So good.
Believe it or not, that is your 10 all-time favourite movies.
Oh, we ended on a very light note.
Well, we needed it. We needed a palate cleanser.
I know. I should have put like Bride Wars in or like
Were there
something.
Bride Wars you did mention and Threat Level Midnight? What are some honourable mentions that didn't quite make the list? Can you think of any?
Ones that I had that I was going to put on there was Cruel Intentions.
Lovely movie.
One of my mum's favourite movies that she made me watch and I loved. The Craft.
Yep.
And I actually enjoyed the second one. As a very
Craft Legacy.
Yeah.
I borrowed it from the movie shop. Haven't watched it yet.
Some people were like, it's too kiddie. But if you watch it till the end, there's like a massive surprise. I don't want to spoil it at all because it's one of the best surprises.
Did you? I should have connected the dots earlier. Did you enjoy the Witches remake? Because it's
I actually
the
haven't
Witches,
watched it yet.
and it's Anne Hathaway as the head witch.
I didn't get to see it in the cinema.
CGI is bad.
Okay.
But then to look, I was blown away because I'm watching it and I'm like, I love the original.
Yeah.
I was so scared of being trapped in a painting. However, watching it, I'm like, there's something about this that has charm, but I don't like the movie. Looked up the director. From the director of Back to the Future trilogy.
Oh.
It is Robert Zemeckis. I'm like, how did he make this?
It reminds me of Cruella a bit. Anne Hathaway's character.
Well, because that was the reason I'd written off Cruella, because there's so many of these modern day remakes that are just soulless, and they're just like, all right, let's just make it gritty, and like the joke, let's make Dalmatians kill her mum, and it's like, guess what?
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
It just has had the vibe. It was like, it reminds me of like Anne Hathaway's The Witches, and like Cruella vibes from that. But
Cruella is a 10 times better movie.
I was so glad I watched that. It's like so good. But yeah, I think those two are the ones that I scribbled off, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Lovely, great movie, great soundtrack. Like we're talking about.
My partner just bought me the vinyl for it.
Nice.
So good. I can't wait to listen to it.
And all you need now is the pop vinyls because you're one of those guys.
I know. I have 2 Groot ones, a Rocket one, and a few Scarlet Witches though. That's
Sweet.
not part of Guardians.
And you'll be starring in the sequel of 40-Year-Old Virgin as well, I believe.
Exactly.
Nice.
I will. Yeah.
Coming from a toy collector,
with
like
Michael Scarn.
a toy collector up here on my ivory tower because you collect pop vinyls. Believe it or not, we are out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
I loved it.
Your homework before you return is, of course, to watch True Romance.
To watch True Romance.
I
I'm
want
going
to
to
know
write
what
that
you
down.
think. Please come back sometime. We'll do a mixed bag where you just pick 6 suggested movies.
I live 5 minutes away, so I'm going to be here.
Oh, no. I'll lock the door every week now. Because you're too gritty for me. Like, I'm Teen Titans go to the movie.
So
and
next
you're
time you come back, can we choose some lighter films?
Let's do a Feel Bad Hit of the Summer special because you'd be perfect for it. Thank you so much for joining us. Hypothetically, if the world doesn't fall apart over the next week, where can people check out your burlesque?
Instagram, Winchester Angel 67, or at 1910 on occasional weekends.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I'd love that.
Thank you
great.
very much. I'm going to go home and cry because of all these sad movies you made me talk about.
I'm going to go home and watch Baby Trapper because I really want to know.
And then you're just going to watch Meerkat Manor, but episodes where the meerkats get hurt.
Oh
you're
my
like,
God,
that's
no.
what I love.
Not the David Attenborough movie.
Yeah, no. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Going out this evening. Unfortunately, no Krez this evening on WOWFM, but stick around. A lot of great music coming up. Let's get back into the music. Thank you for joining us. This is 100.5 WOWFM.